You were talking about getting into as many group songwriting sessions so that the
Yes. Oh,
writer
right, right.
opens their mind. And I was wondering
How to do
is
that?
there kind of a standard to how often they should be doing it? Like, should a manager be constantly setting up group
I, you know,
songwriting sessions?
I think, I think the more active you make your writer or your artist write, the better they're going to get. It's just like anything, you know. It's i- the more experience you get, the better you're going to get at something. Especially if you're putting your artist in the right situations. If it's other people that are trying to find their way, then it's just going to continuously do this. You need to put them in rooms that with other writers, one or two that are terrifying, that have
Right.
some success at least. And so they're looking up rather than like this because you want like nothing's going to grow if everything you're doing is all lateral moves. So you need
Mhm.
to put you or your artist in a room where they're looking up to something and aspiring to be that.
So
Which
how do you,
how do you
sorry.
set that up? Well, yeah. So
Yeah,
I
especially
sorry.
if you're going upwards, like
Right.
how do you get in a room with a writer who's done more than you?
Well, that got well. This is yeah. I got off track. What I was explaining all that other stuff to say was I'm at a point now where because I'm a published writer, but I'm also an established producer, I can call a lot of publishers and get pitches from them
Hmm.
of outside songs that might work for our project. So, but I also can set up co-writes to them, and and that's the benefit of having a producer that has experience, because they're going to be a very good conduit to um, some connections that you'll never have until you have an artist that's done something. So the more you create product that is working through people that have those connections, eventually you just sort of become my equal, literally. So
Hmm.
Jamie, I know Jamie can pick up the phone, call several publishers personally now because of the products that she's worked with and the success that they're not going who. So I, they know that if I'm taking on a project, there's a good chance it has a good shot at being in the public in terms of promotion and marketing and whatever else, or I wouldn't be working on it. So it's an easier. That's usually the problem with it is like who wants to give away a song or set up a co-write with somebody that's a nobody. Well, that's kind of your job to make me think that it's a somebody, or you know what I mean, or actually get the
Hmm.
metrics up. So, well, you know, their live shows are this, and they can you can show them, and it's working. And you're talking to this A&R people about this, and so on. You're just looking for the next single. You, if you admit that the project is doing well, but we think it's broken on the song level, we want to bring in some co-writers that have some success to maybe find the next single to help you. And um, fortunately for all y'all, that was my American coming. Actually, I'm American, but fortunately for all y'all, that the industry's broken. So how it's broken is the 360 deal in Canada and other countries, in the US is getting a bit like this too. That the record companies, because lack of sales of physical product, they're looking for other revenue streams. And so what happened years ago was these record companies, even the majors, are now taking pieces of what you'll be dealing with, or with Jamie will deal with this stuff with you. They're taking a piece of your, you know, your sales, they're taking a piece of your merchandise, live show, publishing. And so what happened was if they're if Jamie owned a record company and she's hiring me to produce, um, she's not going to, because she's making a portion of revenue from that artist publishing, it's better for her to have the artist song on there than mine because she can't take my publishing. And so
Hmm.
that caused a divide where it created a stigma that the artist has to be the song. The artist has to be the artist. They have to be the star. They have to be one of the best promoters on the team. They have to market. They got to go out and play it, and they got to write the hit song. That's stacking way too much on your artist. And so I'm always the person to try to free up the artist to be the artist. And if that means uh, helping them become better songwriters, but still getting them out into the marketplace with a great song, I always look for great outside song pitches. But to do co-writes, if you have a little bit of a thing going on, and even if you don't, why I mentioned about nobody wanting my songs now because the artist has to be involved. There's all these publishers in the world going, but what about, remember that book I told you about that every week, every month I'd go through this? I don't see that anymore because nobody wants my songs because they need to
Hmm.
have their artist be the song. And so my manager will often try to plant me into a project. So I'm writing with the artist to get the gig or get the song on the record. Because if I'm not writing with the artist, it's not going on the record. But I've been the person shaking the trees and changing that. Sorry, you still there?
Yeah.
Sorry. My phone is linked to my thing. Did I go black there for a minute?
Yeah,
Sorry.
it just said your name all of a sudden.
I'm sorry. I can't help that. I don't know how to make that stop. If I turn it offline here, it won't work.
Okay, so if it happens again, we know you're receiving a call.
Can you see that Pete is texting me right now? Sorry.
Hey, Pete.
Did that come up? You can see that?
No.
Okay.
I just want to say something quickly to everybody. If you have questions while this is going, you can type them into the chat box too, and I'll just pick them out and we'll answer them either throughout or at the end. So.
All right. So not to bore you with the sound of my voice, I'm just saying that you are in a great position now to capitalize on something that was a stigma that was created, that the artist needs to write it for whatever, posterity or revenue streams. There's a ton of publishers out there sitting on catalogs of music that is fantastic, that would take your artist, potentially a millennial, to write something, or a century to write something that good, sitting there waiting to be used, plucked, put onto projects. And so cold calling is not impossible, but having a producer like me or somebody with experience like me can also really make those calls and make that come to fruition quicker. So I will set up co-writes for artists that are not my artists. I've just been hired to write or to produce, but I'm not willing to produce anything that's not giving me the feels. So let's go find stuff that gives me the feels, or get you in co-writes to find something hopefully that gives me the feels. So I'm instrumental in getting the co-writes done. It's almost like something you don't really have to do if you have the right team of people making music. They can find those opportunities. Mm-hmm. If you have connection with publishers, then definitely get involved. But I would still even suggest that you do get out there and meet some publishers, because they're looking for a place to apply their wares. They're almost the same question. How do we get to the artists? Well, you're the managers. So it's like, we just have to get back to connecting those teams again. And I think over the last bunch of years, in every country, the team that works together always succeeds, but we're all being pulled off into little areas. And so Jamie has to do this to get us back on track and go, well, for years, managers knew the publishers, and the publishers knew the managers, and they all knew the record companies. It's like, we've all been kind of blown out to the corners of our world. Get out there and make connections with publishers in your country or wherever you are, or even cross territory. Like, go to other countries, make some phone calls, go to seminars. And I think in Canada, we have a thing called Canadian Music Week, where even though I don't have to go and Jamie doesn't have to go, we still go and we hang and meet new people and new ideas, and we share ideas. And I think that's go to these things and meet publishers, because that's your lifeblood. I mean, really, just look at it's almost like it's common sense that the stronger the song makes the production easier, which makes the chance of it being successful easier, which makes all of our lives better. Well, why don't you connect with the people that deal with in songs? Like, you don't go to the bus depot to get your car fixed. You go to the repairman who fixes cars. So I like to be the promoter of marrying all those things back together again. So I would suggest pick up, just cold call, just introduce yourself. This is, I'm managing this, this is my company, it's my artist, this is stuff I've done, and I just want to open up a dialogue, and you'd be surprised how easy it is for them to pitch music to you or get them to pitch stuff.
Get the publisher to pitch music to the manager
to you.
For the artist.
And then once you and also when you establish the relationship, Jamie can attest to this. She could pick up the phone and call a publisher and go, I've got this artist, can you I want to hook up a co-write, she's in Toronto between this, and then she'll probably get some stuff right away. So we can hook her up with this person. Then Jamie, as the manager, is going to decide, are those writers strong enough for my artist? Like, you need to manage your expectations too. Is like, unfortunately, you need to go, okay, you need to rate where you're in your mentally, where your artist is in your head, so you know what situations to put them into. So you don't want to put your artist in this room with a bunch of the same trying to find their way writers. You want to kind of step it up again. So always remember, even if it's just a little bit, it's always going to be pulling your artist up. So make the connections with publishers as much as possible. They're almost more important than me, as like in terms of starting. Like, because once you come to somebody that knows how to produce, I can't produce something that's not a hit song into a hit song. It's not going to happen. So it starts with the core ingredients. That's really what it comes down to. And I think the focus has been taken off of that, which leads to a lot of what you guys ultimately hear all the time. Music sucks today, or it's very homogenized, or and to some degree that's true. And I think that's comes from the problem is the the raw ingredients of what we're starting with. It has to be, we have to go back and put that power back into the right spot. It's like we're starting with a strong foundation, then you have a better chance of succeeding. It's already hard enough, even with that kind of great product. I've got songs that are fantastic, and everybody involved knows it's special, and it still has to fight with a lot of people that have really special things. So you want to try to be as bulletproof as you can. And I think a lot of people they try to go from here to here too quickly, forgetting that, they think I'm going to be able to take whatever they give me and make it compatible or competitive. So it's not as, don't be terrified to pick up the phone and meet publishers. They're there for you. That's their job. Because they all know that nobody knew who Rihanna was at one point. Nobody knew who, every artist that started from nobody knowing them. So, and they'll weigh in, they'll ask you, we'd love to hear this artist, so you'd send what you can. So for two reasons. Number one, so they can evaluate what they might have in their catalog that would work for that artist, what writers they have on their roster that would work well with that kind of art. And then, so once they hear, and it's as special as you think it is, they're going to hear that it's special, and they're going to want to be involved on the ground floor.